Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it's good coffee. Um, First off, damn, I'm being lazy. I I'm this really weird mode that like when I lose my motivation, it's impossible to find if it's interrupted. Like I'll do some work for a couple days, and then somebody asks me to do a project, and I just can't get back to stuff. Um, Fire starts, you can put it in my house, can't get back to stuff. It's not good. I got so much shit I gotta do, and I'm not doing squat. Other than watching movies, which is still good, but not very productive. Um, Also trying the little light thing again today. I am shooting at a slightly slower shutter speed of 40th of a second. So hopefully the vertical line thing is not happening. Hopefully I'll just fingers crossed. I guess we'll find out when I'm editing later on. I'm obviously back in my house, as you guys know from yesterday, because I was back in my house. The fires in LA are still raging, but most of them are somewhat contained. The fire by my house is kind of off towards the mountains now. It's less near populated areas. I think they rated like 10% contained. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's not like growing, expanding. It's not like raging towards Hauser now. Some of that's because it already got down to that line and went back the other direction, so there's nothing to burn. So like there's no fuel to come back this way, and also the winds finally die down. The term I heard was a dry hurricane to reference the winds we had here. We were getting, I've heard up to 85-mile-an-hour gusts at some spots, maybe 90 up by Ventura. So it was like howling winds, which really spawned all the fires. The one in Ventura is still going. It's kind of hard to find the news because they've been reporting more on the one in Bel Air, which I don't know if it's just because it's closer to downtown LA or if it's because it's the rich people live there, so they're talking about it. I don't really know the devastation out in Ventura, other than the fact that it's like 150,000 acres or something obscene amount of acreage. I don't know how many houses are burned out there versus downtown. I know that the Bel Air fire. I know that there have been some houses lost there. Fair amount of houses lost up by me in the canyons, but it's like pales in comparison to Santa Rosa. Like the fires down here, I think the deaths and injuries have been really minimal. It plays for great television. It looks unbelievable. Like, the footage of somebody driving on 405 or a couple days ago when the whole hillsides lit up. Yeah, it looks amazing. It's terrifying. It's a horrible thing, but it's far less devastation than was going on up north. And the guys down here seem to have a good handle on it. I know there are more little fires popping up. There's one down in, I think it was Anaheim, that popped up a couple hours ago, that rapidly sparked off. It's kind of part of the joys of living down here. Like when you've got months and months without rain, things are really dry. The Santa Ana wind is it's one of those things. When it happens, it can happen. I've heard some people try to make political comments about this is somehow related to the liberal politics of California. Politics have nothing to do with wildfires. Like there's no you could argue like in the national forest if we're not clearing out dead trees, whatever. And I've heard that comment before, but like that has nothing to do with the fact the fire is happening in the city. Like it's just bad luck, bad weather. Shit happens. You really can't. You can only prepare so much for that kind of stuff. And for the most part, I think LA's actually done pretty good with that. I've since moving down here, I haven't had that much experience with like the fire department or the police department. They've all been positive. Like the cops have actually been really nice in here. Although I do realize I'm a white guy, has been pointed out to my black friends. Like, yeah, you've had the great experiences because you're white, but I've had a good experience with the LAPD down here, and the fire department guys are unbelievably amazing. I've seen them training; they're awesome, and they train all the time down here, like year round, up in the mountains. Helicopter drops. Driving, taking the actual trucks up, Forest Service roads. These guys do this stuff all the time, and gals actually. So they're doing a great job. There have been a couple other. I know there have been some crews from other states have come in, which I think is pretty cool. It's one of those things like when your neighbor's house burning, everybody dives in. I think it's kind of neat that like I think we have some crews in from Arizona and from Nevada, and I think from Colorado are down here right now. A lot of that's because just there's like 5,000 firefighters battling fires in Southern California right now, and they're like, I think the fire chief came out on Monday and said like the guys are wiped out. They've been going since Sunday, like pretty nonstop. I think now it's starting to die down. The fire at Bel Air, from what I understand, last night there was no new growth. They're just basically mopping that one up. That one's probably okay. The one by me, I think, is kind of the same thing. The Ventura fire is its own thing. That's a huge one, and hopefully that one gets taken. Hopefully because the weather's died down, that one gets kind of sopped up a bit. And I hope there's no more of them because it's just sucks. Like I've never had to deal with this living in Washington State. Like this, you would get forest fire stuff like that, but it was for the most part Washington's pretty wet, so like you don't really have that level of stuff. The natural disasters are pretty minimal. I know it's on a we have Mount Rainier, there's potential earthquakes there, but there's not. It's a really low level of worry about that. And coming to California is kind of odd. I have to go, I have to actually consider about this stuff and think about it and be prepared for it. Getting put in my house is really lame, but I'm lucky enough to have a house to come back to. Anyways, I just want to update on the LA fire situation. Booked a couple shoots from Seattle, which is really cool. I got 3 shoots lined up. It's going to be like a crazy trip of a nonstop art making. I'm so excited. 4 shoots actually, if you count the one I'm doing with my friend Jenny when I get to Olympia, because I'm going to stay a night there for Seattle, and she's a fellow photographer artist. I think we're going to do. I have no idea what we're going to do. I just know we're going to create something cool. Like I think we've just decided that whatever inspiration we have, we're going to run with it. And I'll have all my toys with me, so we'll come up with something cool. And that one's actually 4 shoots while up there. Another thing I wanted to quick address real fast. Just thought it occurred to me actually a little while ago. I'm a pretty technically savvy photographer. Like I know how the gear works. I know why the gear works. I've got a lot of gear, as you guys all know. The one thing I've never really spent a lot of time thinking about, oddly enough, is like lens selection in terms of storytelling. And I'll kind of come back to what I mean in a second. But as a photographer, you get good glass and you use the best glass you have for your shot, for your portraits. You go, okay, generally shoot a little bit, maybe like 85 or longer. Environmental, you open a little, for wider lens. Maybe shoot a normal at 50 or whatever. And like I know the characteristics of my lens. Lenses for photography. I grab what I want, and I know what I'm going for. Obviously, I'm shooting something just haphazard about it, but going to shooting moving stuff, I haven't really put it. It's a different kind of thought process to some extent, because so much of your story is determined by that angle of view. Not just the angle of view, but how the angle of view is being affected by the compression lens. Whether I'm really, really close to the lens with a wide lens versus really far away with a telephoto lens. It's been an interesting learning process for me trying to figure this stuff out. And now I'm noticing myself watching a lot of movies going, what did they use to shoot that with? Like, what lens was that? And specifically, what's been killing me for the last hours, I started watching Apocalypse Now. Now, I haven't watched this movie in I don't know how long, but it was on Netflix. Oh, I should watch Apocalypse Now. Or no, it's on Netflix? No, it's on Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's not Apple TV. So cool. But I'm watching this, I'm like, and the second scene when they're having the meeting, spoilers alert if you haven't seen Apocalypse Now, but whatever, it's 40 years old, so. When Martin Sheen's character is having a meeting with like military guys are talking about, off in the general, and you can give him his orders. And I'm watching a scene, and I'm looking at all the camera angles, going, "Oh man, that shot is amazing!" Like, and then I'm trying to find online what lens did this guy use. I'm like, is that a 35? Is it a 50? Is it 35 close? Is it 50 a little farther away? It's really, I love the fall off in that one, and it's driving me batshit nuts trying to figure out the lenses used just that scene. Like, I want to know what's he using just that scene, because the way it's framed, it's so damn good. Just like especially the close-ups of Martin Sheen, the way he fills a frame, with the fall off, it's just awesome. But it's driving me nuts because now I'm actually really actively thinking about this, and I don't know. I'm like, oh man, I've never. Like, I think if maybe it's still maybe it is a 50. I think it's still stronger. Like, it probably is 50 millimeter lens. It looks like 50 millimeter lens, but it could be a little wider. It might be a 35, really close, or close enough where it doesn't distort. But it's been an interesting thing, like coming, my growth on this side of things, like, and my critical eye. And I'll use kind of another example of this. So I have a degree in audio production. I went to school as a recording engineer. One of my best friends went to theater drama school in Cornish College of the Arts, theater drama, and majored in drama. And like when we would go to see plays, she's hypercritical. Like, she sees all the mechanics, she sees all the fuck ups, she sees all the decisions made, when it's done poorly. For me, when I listen to music, I can pick it apart like nobody's business because I understand the mechanics of the production side of things. I know why they did decisions they do. Like, when I go see a show, I go, I can hear the track, and I'm really, really critical about that because I know that stuff. I'm just now, like, as somebody who loves shooting video and getting into film, cinematography, starting to get critical of that stuff. I'm starting to pick up, like, more. I mean, I always wasn't, like, I'd always like appreciate shots and like, oh, that looks gorgeous, but I was always looking at things just like in terms of like a photographer. I'll use like one of my favorite visual scenes last probably 10 years was the King's Speech. There's this fantastic little scene when the king first goes over to Dr. Lowe, I think it was his name, Jeffrey Rush's character. When he goes over his office, and he sits on the couch, and it's like, sitting on the couch, and it's like a wide room, like a anamorphic shot, nice and wide. And he's on this couch, and like the background of the couch and the wall have this really similar texture, and it's just beautifully shot. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous photo. I'm looking at this as a photographer, going just like, oh man, the set, the still, I love all this stuff. But I wasn't looking at that in terms of the emotion of the shot. I wasn't in terms of why it's pulling me in, why it's pushing me out, whatever. I was just going like, that's just a gorgeous shot. And now as looking, and I think as a still image, I would pull the emotions out, but I wasn't looking at it in terms of the story of the movie. I'm always going like, it looks gorgeous, lovely, that looks gorgeous as well. And now I'm trying to get much more critical as far as looking at things like this, the overall arc, like having that push in shot and how much that draws you in to this little emotional moment or makes, a character strong or weak. And really with the Apocalypse Now, it's so good. I'm trying to find how they did that. But yeah, I'm just rambling away here. This is a long one today. I guess just what I kind of want to end up with is I'm having this kind of fun process of I guess kind of learning like the language of film now, and a lot of like my YouTube stuff you're watching and stuff on Netflix or whatever, and like documentaries I'm looking at have been on analyzing why directors do stuff they do, why they put stuff here, why cinematographers do something, why they light the way they do, because it's different from as a stills photographer. The way I would do stuff is a little differently. And I'll use another example. There's I wish I should have looked his name down. He was a cinematographer on Selma, and I just saw a great like interview with him like a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, and he was talking about how he lights rooms. When he walks in, I black the room, I black the floor out. Anything that's not in the shot, I black it out. Like the ceiling's blacked out, and all the lights on the sides. As photographer, if I'm doing fashion, oh god, like I hate that look. Like I want that crazy light right, above the head with the nice, awesome shadows and fashion lighting. But that's not a look for film. That's a totally, like that's not a real look. Like this, the look of light right here requires the person to be straight in line with that light to get that shadow just right. My whole when I'm doing photo shoots, it's all about, hey, I move your chin, like a quarter inch. No, that's too far. Back an eighth of an inch to get that shadow right. And that's not the way you operate with film to the most extent. Like, I mean, you need to give actors room to, to actually emote and move. But it's interesting, like watching that process, like, oh wow, I'm doing this like the total opposite way of way everybody else does, or well, way everybody does in the the moving pictures world versus the stills pictures world. So it's been kind of a fun process to me of learning that language and kind of diving into that stuff. Yeah, and hopefully getting better at it. And hopefully I'll be able to incorporate a lot of that knowledge and a lot of the hit and misses nature of what I do into my shoots coming up, because I'm doing a bunch of video projects, which is really, really exciting. And with that, I've been rambling on for like 17 minutes now. Woo! I shall see you all tomorrow. If you guys made it this far, I'm utterly amazed. Thank you so much. But I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic Friday. Hope it's not burning where you're at or here anymore. So, yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Catch you later.